I couldn't mention the Amy Winehouse. I mean, I did a channeling. I was doing a channeling for this wonderful woman. Her name was Jody. She was on a gallery. I said something about Kobe. Her hand came up, so they put her on with me. And she said that was her son's name, and his nickname was Kobe Man or something like that. And I go, oh, we're definitely with you. So we start chatting, and, he was a musician, and I kept pushing about Drummer Boy. She goes, no, but he was a guitarist. And then all of a sudden it clicked. My God, his best friend wrote a song for him after he passed and called him the Drummer Boy. And she goes, oh my God. So we had that moment. And then I go, oh, there's this girl. He's at a piano, but I feel this girl hugging him. And there's something about, the piano and some Amy. And I go, did he have a friend? And she said, Amy Winehouse. And I think I went, we're all like, oh, I'm a fan.
Rare Medium with Deb Snyder, celebrating life's rarities, the people, places, and experiences that just might be a little bit weird. This podcast explores all facets of our energetic connections to each other and beyond. We'll dive into the depths of mediumship, psychic ability, intuition, near-death experiences, afterlife research, healing modalities, and more. Our focus is to bring you relevant and moving accounts with guests who share their authentic selves and their treks into the spiritual and energetic realms. We'll learn how those experiences shifted their perspective on life itself. Join us to be inspired by everyday people on their extraordinary journeys into the rare medium of the mystical world. Topics discussed on Rare Medium by the host and guests are presented for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional, legal, or medical advice. Hello and welcome everyone to Rare Medium. I'm your host, Deb Snyder. I am very excited this week that I have the lovely Beth Lynch here with us today. Beth is an intuitive consultant, medium, and founder of Inner Light Teaching. Through channeling and teaching, she's committed to helping others deal with grief and convey the wisdom of the spirit world. She volunteers in her community teaching meditation and sharing the wisdom she has learned through her own experiences. Beth is a graduate at Delphi University and has been practicing meditation for over 28 years. She's been featured nationally on numerous radio shows and programs. She has a robust social media presence and website, and you can visit her at innerlightteachings.com. Beth, welcome.
Hi, Deb. I'm excited to be here.
It's so wonderful to have you with us. I'm a big fan of Beth's. We've never had the opportunity to meet before, but she has some wonderful demonstrations online. So be sure to check out her website and on her socials. Amazing, amazing work. Now, Beth, I usually like to start off with people on kind of their origin story. Tell us how you came into your own abilities.
Well, it began like a lot of people needing to understand more about the other side in my own grief for the loss of my father and 3 years later, my mom. My mom's passing was very tragic. Well, my dad's was unexpected as well, but hers, I woke from a dream the night of her passing. It was 3:15 a.m. because I can still see the digits when I think about it. And I was dreaming that I was hearing over an intercom system that my mother was dead. I was hearing an announcement. And then I saw people running like this in gray walls. I woke up and in the dream I'd been almost hyperventilating. You know what I mean? I was very upset in the dream, but I woke and I was feeling that same way. And I looked at the clock and I went, what kind of dream was that? I think because of just the shock and everything, I didn't put one and one together, but I woke up in the morning to hear on the news the Amtrak train had crashed. And this was in 1993. And needless to say, it was like 3:15 a.m. I found that out after. It didn't surprise me. I get up, I'm in the car driving my little nephew to pre-K or something. I hear it on the news and I remember my dream and I dropped him off. And I remember I had to call my sister and run to the Amtrak station, which happened to be right on my way, which is bizarre. I heard her voice tell me, Beth, I'm all right. I'm happy. And I remember feeling like I looked in the back seat of the car and I went, you're dead. I mean, why would I hear that? And, My whole life, I always felt things, heard things. I remember saying, why do I have to feel these things? Why do I have to know these things? I had a Catholic upbringing, but I had a very natural connection to feeling Jesus and getting messages, like hearing things. And so as a child, that felt so natural to me, even though I didn't understand it. But then as I grew up in teen life, it became like, I can't do that. Who am I? Just like a lot of people do, I look back now and I remember reading something in school 10 times and not getting it. I struggled like with that. So a lot of very intuitive people do struggle with the ADD and the AD, HD. I've learned that along the way. That was the catalyst of, okay, now I'm mad, and the first year of grief going through me and my sister, my dad had passed. And it was interesting enough, the week my dad passed, I kept feeling death around me. And I had told a friend that in a limo, we were out on a birthday or something, and on Saturday night, and I said, I feel death. I don't know. Am I being told I'm going to die? And it was like 28 when that happened, I think 29. And I told my friend, and then Monday morning I went into work and my boss called me out and my dad had passed and my mom had asked to let us know and we could get to where she was. That never stuck with me as much as the train accident, but then it came flooding back. Why do I know these things? So I went to a medium. A year later, me and my sister went together. It was very unexpected. Someone called and said, I can't make my appointment. Why don't you girls take it? She was a good friend. And we went. The lady looked right at me. Young lady, you're not using your gifts and abilities, and your mother's in the spirit world saying you're going to do what I do someday. And I'm looking at her going, this little bitch is crazy. But then there's that, well, why do I know things? Why did I dream that? She didn't know I dreamt that, and I told her after, and then the whole experience, she says, your mom will lead you to your books and teachers. And I really did not grasp. I mean, I was a hairdresser. I was booked 3 months out. Leave me alone. Okay. You know what I mean? I'm a colorist. And I still look back at that day and remembering my whole life changed. I just had no idea how much it was going to change.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I could definitely see how you having a life in a certain profession that's kind of fun, very social, but those skills as a hairdresser and communicating with people must help you in your
Well,
day-to-day work.
people would often tell me, I don't just come to you for your hair skills. You're so intuitive. And I used to think, well, too bad I didn't use it for myself. Because back then in my 20s, I was not using it for myself, of partnerships and things.
That's right, a bit of a hot mess express, but we can all relate to
Yeah, the
that in our
20s, the
20s.
20-somethings.
No doubt. Now, you talk a little bit on your website, Beth, about understanding of the relationship between spirit and the self. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I like to break it down to, I'll have a lot of people in sessions like, I'm not spiritual, or I'm trying to be more spiritual. I want to be more spiritual. I want to make time. And I said, you have your spiritual nature is a part of your personality. Every single one of us, we're consciousness, right? We could get into the whole quantum physics things, but that's deep. And, but our spiritual nature is intuitive, which is not just the connection to our divinity or the universe, God, whatever you terms our source, but is a survival mechanism. Our intuition wants to guide us, protect us from whether it's a relationship to what road not to go or don't go there. And then something happens. Everybody's had those kind of experiences, I think. Our intuitive nature is a part of our spiritual energy or our higher frequencies. It is intuitive. It is creative. Our creativity is how we're going to express ourselves, how we're going to create abundance to survive and eat on this planet, right? Have a roof over our head. And just the pleasure of creative expression. It's meditative. It is also our compassion. Compassion is above and beyond the human ability. Patience run out. Compassion will not run out. We've been taught that by many avatars, right? And then it's the communication. The species has lost its ability to communicate peacefully, to communicate their views. To watch the news. We don't need to go there, right? It's also the connectedness that we have. One of the biggest, I remember Princess Diana, and I remember how the world felt that because she was someone who was pretty common, may not be the word, but natural. And you watched that whole world and then all of a sudden tragedy. And Everybody wants. I mean, we see tragedies, we pray, we gather, we do prayer circles for people all the time, people, all the time. And so there's that connectedness. And there's also the emotional coping skills come from the spirit. The personality, the self, is how it's going to express itself. So the spirit expresses through personality, and the body takes the benefits or lack of, or the drop in frequency that create dis-ease and all that. We need to understand that our self, our spirit and our self are one. That is the friendship. That is the first love that you have to honor every single day. And it's not difficult. And when you do that, you're bringing in that nature, that higher frequency nature, that spiritual nature, source for yourself to replenish your spirit and your body.
That's the powerful perspective. And I think important for people to realize that they themselves, who in whatever form they're at, they are a powerful source of spirit and a creative source. I appreciate you pointing that out. I think people, unfortunately, we're too hard on ourselves. We automatically think we're getting it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Even when we're very highly skilled in something, we can be quite insecure and we'll be like, oh no, I can't be right. That can't be right.
Mm-hmm.
When often it's our inner knowing rising up.
Yes. And interesting, I remember the first time Spirit said to me, there's no right, there's no wrong. And we use those terms. And I love to autocorrect my clients and stuff like, there's no wrong, there's no bad. There's higher frequency expressions and lower frequency expressions. Which expression do you want to be in? If you wake up every day and say, I choose love, I choose my spirit and self to walk together, to be friends today, you're going to change your life. You're going to feel things within a week shift. And that is that simple. Start somewhere.
That's
We
right.
start somewhere.
I fully agree on that. Now, what advice would you give to someone who is starting to sense their abilities? What action? That's, for me, it's wonderful to sense it, but what can they do to help take the next step?
Sure. I always tell people, you wake up, you open your eyes, take a breath. I don't care. I did it as a mom raising my little boy. I would take that breath in the morning and say, I am open to the divine direction of my journey today, or I am open to use my sacred gifts and abilities as a spiritual and a human being. Don't separate it. Stop the separation. Start with something. Take those 4 breaths. 4 is a good foundation number. And then get your feet on the floor. Start somewhere to move energy. And then throughout the day, mindful. What is your mind full of? What are you thinking? I remember being a very fast thinker. I remember sending a lot of worries. I can remember being that way. And then I remember just starting simple things, learning affirmations, learning, Louise Hay, thank you. Girlfriend up there. You know what I mean? I mean, she was one of the affirmation queens of our time to get us thinking, and all the teachers before us that taught. And Wayne Dyer, hello, I saw him for a client once on a beach, and I just thought I was getting a perception of her thinking of Wayne Dyer while she was walking on the beach. She goes, no, I met him on the beach in Hawaii when I was there, and he was going to write the foreword for my book. And I'm like, she goes, but then he passed away. And I'm like, oh my God. So that was Wayne. It was
My
a cute
friends
little
will
moment.
laugh at your reference to Wayne Dyer because I have met Dr. Dyer. And I have a great picture of his arms wrapped around me. And he was very instrumental in encouraging my own development back in the day as I was starting to plan my book. He really helped be an encouraging person. I had met him. He was speaking in Boston.
That's awesome. Yeah. I've seen him speak once, but I never got to get the hug like some of the people I've talked to.
I think Wayne's with us right now. Hey, ladies, I want to hop in on this conversation. That's wonderful. Now, Beth, you do a lot of volunteer work. I admire you so much for that. Tell us about some of the work you do for helping parents heal.
Helping parents heal, an amazing group of humans. There's a group of mediums, maybe 25. You dedicate your time to them. You give them a gallery. I'm usually every couple months. And they have a conference that's coming up in August that's already sold out, and it's beautiful. It's ever held every 2 years. You sit with them and you bring through their children, and it's just the love that you feel from these people, and they're moms that have lost their own children, and then they have, their affiliate groups all around the world. I do the UK as well. That's actually, I found them first. And and I said, doesn't America have a group like that? They go, yes. And they gave me the name. I don't even remember how it happened. But yeah, so I really love working with that group. The kids always come through. Our kids, they want to show us they're with us. That's a grief that is the top of the chain. All grief is hard and challenging. As spiritual and human beings, our spirit holds the energy for us to go through grief. It's in our spiritual nature. And a lot of times in the passing of a child or a spouse or anyone, that's the first place you get mad at. I was mad at God for a good year, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Why would you take my mother that way? Why would my mother have to suffer that way? And I came to learn that I don't really think she suffered. I really believe that it was fast. But it took a year for that to even get to be an acceptance of that,
Right.
But, and that's what, mediumship to me is about, mediating between the spirits and the physical, you as a physical being, because we can help show you that space can be it's sacred, it's powerful, and it's natural. And that's the greatest gift you give any parent, I think, to know their child is still going to be with them. And some of the things that you see in these channelings are crazy. They're just a beautiful group. And anyone who is, their stuff is on YouTube. They're pretty free. I think to be in one of their galleries is like $11.11. They have it like the 1111. Everything is but their YouTube page is right up there. And but they're great to follow, and they're a great support system. In their conferences, I've never felt more love in one big, beautiful place. I went 2 years ago. It was the first year I went, and I'm going again this August. The grief is just why everyone's there, but the love overshadows it. If that's the word.
What a tremendous source of healing that must be.
Yeah. And they have helping siblings heal, and they have helping fathers heal. So it's nice. I've done galleries with just the siblings. These kids need to understand grief. They need to know their sibling is with them. They deserve it. I always change the word need to deserve. You deserve to know that.
I think
it's
it
a
is
great group.
comforting for people to feel that connection. I think that's one of the miracles of mediumship, that people can still feel connected with those that have departed.
Absolutely.
Tell me about some of the unusual experiences you've had as a medium. Spirit never lets us down.
I could mention the Amy Winehouse.
Well, why don't you? What about Amy Winehouse?
I was doing a channeling for this wonderful woman. Her name was Jody. I just met her. She was on a gallery. I said something about Kobe or Kobe man or something. So her hand came up. So they put her on with me. And she said that was her son's name, and his nickname was Kobe man or something like that. And I go, we're definitely with you. We start chatting, and, he was a musician, and I kept pushing about Drummer Boy. And she goes, no, but he was a guitarist. And then all of a sudden it clicked. She said, oh my God, his best friend wrote a song for him after he passed and called him the Drummer Boy. And she goes, oh my God, so we had that moment. And then I go, oh, there's this girl. He's at a piano, but I feel this girl hugging him. There's something about, the piano and some Amy. And I go, did he have a friend, Amy? She goes, well, she said, Amy Winehouse. And I think I went, what? We're all like, I'm a fan, And she goes, yes, they were friends, and they met when we were away, and they were supposed to reconnect. She showed a picture. She goes, wait a minute. And she grabbed this picture, and it's Amy hugging over her son, and they were in front of a piano.
Wow.
Yeah. And she said that she called her mom, and, they were very close with Amy. That was a very special moment, I think, with seeing someone, you don't think, up there, the access is sacred. Her son wanted to basically say, Mom, look who's here, Amy, and that she had the picture of what I was getting right in front of her. And so she was gracious enough to share it. That's on the YouTube channel. It's on Helping Parents Heal. It's on my YouTube as well. I should write a book. I see famous people, but I won't. Out of respect of some of the families. I really had an interesting experience. You'll love this story. When I started getting into meditation, hadn't been full blown into my mediumship yet. I had started after my mom, started getting into meditation. I was very curious. I really approached meditation through the spirit, through the heart chakra. That was very natural to me. There was no like, I had to figure that out. That was how I did it. I would go into my heart, I would breathe, and I would just in the zone and maybe even have a busy one. But anyways, fast forward, I'm well into it now. And I decided I wanted to understand meditation more. Okay, now I'm doing it every day, just a few minutes. It was enough. So I took a Silva course. I didn't even know who Jose Silva was at the time. I do now. But I took a Silva course for a weekend and I came out of there going, well, they're just not saying God. I mean, it's the same thing I'm doing. I just went and sat for 2 days and I got the link to it, but I'm like, they're just not saying God. You know what I mean? That's okay. I'm like, there's something missing. There's still something missing. And that's how I talk, to myself all the time. Like, it's like intelligence. Maybe it's like intelligence. Why would I mean, I was as ADD as they came. I got out of high school straight D's, girl. I was lucky to get out of high school, okay? Because you're always feeling. And, we have to go download the thoughts to help those emotions. It's a very natural thing and it's possible where a lot of people lose the ability. They need to understand that more. That's all on my website. But I remember saying those words about intelligence. And the next day I was sitting in my little quiet meditation time. You got to get your breathing going. There's always a little adjustment I find in meditation, but once it clicks and I started to get an inner vision. I'm a very, very clairvoyant, very visual, I see everything. And I was in a hardwood floor with candelabras and I saw my grandfather at a desk, gray hair. And as I get closer, he looks up and I'm like, Einstein? True story. And he went, you called? Now I'm in the zone, but I'm very aware and awake. I'm in this meditation. I can't make this up, okay, that I'm looking at Einstein at a desk, okay? And I go, I called you? I would read his quotes and go, what is he talking about? That was me. Okay. I don't get. I know he did E equals MC squared. It's about as much as I knew when I went through that. And I called you, and he goes, you asked about the divine intelligence. We are here. We are just waiting to be called upon. Now you've called upon me. Many of us. He said that, and I said, wow. And this emotion, and the way I was seeing it, the emotion took a minute, a second. And he said, I watch over the boy, and he winked. And I'm like, and that kind of shook me out of the moment energy. I kind of dropped my frequency basically because I'm like, the boy, I got one boy, he's 3 years old. What do you mean you watch over my boy? I'm thinking in my head. So now I'm out of the experience, but I'm sitting there going, holy shit, nobody will ever believe this happened, right? I'm like, I don't care. I know it did, but I understood meditation as where does intelligence, where does technology come from? The divine. It's sacred, right? And so I kind of had that moment. I had tears because it's emotional to feel the spirit world. I don't care if it's Einstein or your great great grandmother you don't like. It doesn't matter who it is. You feel things. So the next day, my 3-year-old boy was in the bathtub. Bubbles are blowing like this. He's doing the white beard, that kind of thing. And I'm cleaning the vanity, keeping an eye on him through the mirror. And he's, Mommy, how did he die? And I go, oh, honey, Grandpa. He knew one grandparent for like 2 years, the first 2 years of his life, and everybody else was already in spirit. And he goes, Einstein. And I went, what? And I go, so I know not to panic, freak out. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad panic. I go, well, I don't know. How do you know him? And he goes, well, he talks to me all the time. Now, in the meantime, he's blowing bubbles and, doing all that. And I go, he does? What does he say? He goes, I don't know, but he talks to me all the time. And I said to him, well, I think that's pretty cool. And someday you probably will understand. He goes, yeah, I think he died because he was old. I'm like thinking, I don't even know how he died, So I let it go. I went to I don't even know if it was pre-K, whatever they are when they're 3, 3.5. Right. And I said, hey, do you guys, this was before baby Einstein, by the way. So he wasn't getting it. I asked him, do you guys talk about Einstein in school? Mrs. Lynch. This is
They're like,
great.
no.
Yeah. And she goes, no. And then the next day, I'm in TJ Maxx. He's in this air cart. I'm getting my retail therapy on or something. And he goes, Mommy, Albert. And he points. And it's the poster where Albert Einstein says about imagination and the starry sky there. And
Wow.
I'll never forget this lady goes, "Ooh, smart one you got there." And I'm like, oh my God, you have no idea. And,
Apparently so.
very intuitive young man now. He's 26 and he's great in math. His career is very math based. But yeah, I think Einstein was that. And Einstein, interesting enough, wasn't the best student. And my 26-year-old, I mean, I was teaching meditation in the high school when he was in there. I had a meditation room. I don't even want to say teaching, facilitating. And I'll never forget, I'd have to go, the teacher came up and said, you didn't get your assignment. Geez, Mom, I will. I'm like, don't you ever have homework? You're the only kid I hear about all these homeworks. You never have homework, And I'm like, where's your homework? He goes, I did it in study hall. And then the teacher comes up. So he was not the best student, which I read Einstein was not either. So I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, so that's my Einstein. When I wrote my book, Life, Death in Between, Perspective from the Other Side, I remember the guy who was editing for me. I said, oh, no, we're not going to. He did like little interviews. That's how we did it. And he goes, oh, we're going to, we got to put that. I go, you can't put that in the book. People think I'm crazy. He looked, yeah. And he goes, you're putting that in the book. I still will get people say, my favorite story is Einstein. You know what I mean? I go, look they're accessible. Everybody's accessible. Call to the divine intelligence. Tell it to guide you. I'm not the only one that should see Albert Einstein. I'm sure I'm not. But I truly, from my core, felt the experience. And you can't deny that. And nobody gives you that. Nobody can take it away. That's another beautiful thing about having experiences in your own meditation time or awareness time.
That's an amazing story, Beth. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
I truly
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
for letting me.
Now, how can, if people are interested in having a session with you, how would they go about doing that?
Mm-hmm. My website, innerlightteaching.com, it's pretty much the umbrella of all the things I do, from intuitive consultation, channeling, private personalized meditations for goals and dreams, I call it, and all kinds of things that I do. It's all on the website. And I offer a free 15-minute, it runs max 15 minutes consultation to see if you feel you connect with me and my services that could help you. I have a lot of stuff on there. I offer a gallery every couple months too, Spirit Speaks. It will always be on the website. Get on the email, and you get 5 free meditations. Actually, I just added another one. And they're very simple. It will guide you into a nice meditation practice. You can pick one a day. There's a 5-minute one. There's one for focus and concentration. There's a bench, which is a visitation. There's a walking meditation, which I just did as a request of a client that I love. You can do it virtually or you can do it while you're walking. So that's just by putting your email address in. They'll come right to you. So everyone should take advantage of that.
Well, that's very generous and sounds like some really great tools. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Beth, every guest that's on Rare Medium, we wrap up the time we have with them with what we call Rare Medium's 10QQ, which is 10 quick questions. Are you ready for your 10QQ?
I'm ready.
Okay, very good. Do you believe in the afterlife?
Yes.
What was your age in the best year of your life so far?
Wow, that's a big question. I mean, just the first thing, my birth of my son at 40 years old, baby. I mean, it's just, there's so many.
Who's your favorite musical artist?
Amy Winehouse.
I would agree with that answer for you. Now, where would you most like to travel?
I think the Grand Canyon. I've had experiences in meditation. I've never been there.
What person has inspired you the most?
My dad said when I was 21, follow your dreams. I made a big life choice and I've never stopped. And I'm 66 right now and I've never stopped. I've made major changes in my life, even not 5 years ago, and I've never stopped.
Wonderful. Now, if you could have an entire different profession, what would it be?
I don't think I want another one. Maybe just speaking more on it. I think that would probably be part of
What are you grateful for?
life.
Do you love yourself?
Absolutely.
What do you most regret?
Not understanding this earlier in life, in my teens, and understanding the spirit and the self as one.
Very good.
Because younger, maybe things would have, just been a little easier.
Hmm.
And I like to help people find that space.
Very good. In a word or two, what advice do you have for your fellow humans?
To believe in your spirit, to believe and do something about it. Nurture.
Wonderful. Beth, thank you so much for being here with us today. People are going to head right over to your page to see that Amy Winehouse. I just
They
know they
should. It's
will.
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Well, thank you so much. And we look forward to having you on again. Keep us informed of what you're up to.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Deb. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. This has been Rare Medium with Deb Snyder. Please subscribe in your favorite channel and leave any comments you'd like us to see. To learn more, visit debsnyder.com or heartglow.org.